One area that is often neglected among young aspiring footballers is the use of game analysis. The ability to be able to watch your games back and analyze every single little detail of your game, good and bad, and then use those details as lessons moving forward in your career. I've been analyzing my own games for over a decade now, both by myself but also with the help of others. And after all this time, I've been able to learn and refine my approach of what makes up a great and complete game analysis. And today I will show you how incredibly valuable taking game analysis seriously can be for your career, and I will do that by breaking it down into 3 different levels. Let's begin. Level 1. In the first level, it's all about starting to analyze your games, but as you do, it can be hard to know what to look for. What are the most important areas of your game to analyze? Do you watch the entire team performance or just your individual touches? Do you start to look at the few times where you actually have the ball in the game, or do you look at your movements without the ball? There is a time and place for everything, and what you decide to analyze depends on what your current goals are. However, I would recommend, if you're just starting out and to make things simple, to analyze your own individual touches for when you have the ball. Your movement without the ball, which is equally important, is something we can save for later. When I analyze my own touches, there are a few key things that I look for, and to go over all of them would be an incredibly extensive video. However, I'd like to talk about some of the most important things here today. One of them is looking at the success rate of my actions. Whether it's a dribble, a pass, a cross, or a shot, was it successful or was it unsuccessful? Once having classified it as one of the two, I usually try to break down why that was the case. And here is a common mistake I see when young players try to analyze their own game, because let's say, for example, that I misplace a pass. Then it may not necessarily have to mean that I have to practice the technical skill of passing a ball. Instead, we're looking for the root cause of the issue. For example, the reason that I misplaced the pass could be because I wasn't scanning prior to receiving the ball. So I panicked and therefore I misplaced the pass. Or it could be because my first touch was poor, so the resulting pass wasn't as good as it could have been had my first touch been better. When we approach it in this way, it becomes easier to see what we actually need to improve rather than what we think that we need to improve. To be able to know which area to focus on the most in our training, we then try to place these different actions into different categories. Let's say I misplace 10 passes in a game. Twice it was because I didn't scan prior to receiving the ball. Twice it was because of poor passing technique. But the remaining 6 times it was because of a poor first touch. Well, then I can clearly see that the most urgent thing to practice here is my first touch to set up the pass in a better way, and which will make it much more likely that I will play the correct pass in the future. And this should then be the priority in my training. Another really important thing that I look for when analyzing my games is how progressive was I in my decision making. This will depend on what position you play and the context of the game, but in general there are 3 major decisions that you can take once you have the ball. These are maintenance, progression, and chance creation. Maintenance is when you're under pressure and all you can really do is maintain possession of the ball within the team. Progression is when you're able to turn and progress the play forward in some way. It can be through a dribble, taking the space, or by breaking lines through your passing. The final and best decision that you can take on the ball is chance creation. This is the final pass, cross, shot, or dribble that leads to a chance created for your team. This is what wins football matches, and naturally, the more often you can execute these chance creation decisions, the more of a valuable asset you will be to your team. The very best players in the world always strive to execute chance creation decisions. However, it will not always be possible, but when it is, you should go for that option, unless you're defending a lead or something similar, but that is something else entirely that we won't speak of today. If you don't, that is a missed opportunity for your team to score a goal. Therefore, when analyzing, try to see if there are opportunities where you can be more aggressive in your decision making and opt for progression or chance creation. Level 2. Heading into the second level, we have now become more accustomed to analyzing our own games, and we better know what to look for. To keep making progress and avoid stagnation, we start to reach out to people around us to get another perspective of your situation and your game. Preferably, this is someone that can provide you with a good opinion, like a coach or a mentor, or even just a parent or a friend if that's what you have. Just make sure that they provide you with as an objective analysis as possible, and ask them to be fully transparent and honest, even if that means that they point out more negatives than positives. Our goal is to grow as footballers, and then we have to be willing and open to take all forms of feedback, both positive, but even more importantly, the negative feedback as well. Once you have their opinion, you can combine that with your own analysis to get even better clarity in what you need to improve to take your game to the next level. Level 3. In the third and final level, we are doing what we can to analyze our own games. We have approached a coach or a mentor who helps us break down our games. But what we then add to it in this level to reach the elite level of game analysis is to reach out to another third party. A third party that has incredible experience, knowledge, and connections at the very highest levels of the game. That is exactly what Orange Football Network, who is also kindly the sponsor of this video, offers. Orange Football Network, or OFN, is a company that offers several services to aspiring footballers around the world, and one of those services is their world-class scouting report. OFN acts as a middle hand in connecting you to some of the best scouts in world football. Because of this, I recently had one of my own games analyzed by a scout from the prestigious Spanish club Real Sociedad. And today I will reveal and go through the exact scouting report that I received from OFN. I will show you exactly what it contains, how the highest level scouts view the game, and how it allows me, ultimately, to become a better player. So this is the exact scouting report that I received from the Real Sociedad scout via OFN, and this first page just contains some basic information like my position, midfield, number 11, I get a score out of 120, I got a 91 score in this game, which is very high. You get a main attribute for this particular game, and it says my positioning, tactical, and my shooting was my main attributes. My influence on the game was quite high, and my recommended role model is Dominic Szoboszlai, who plays in Liverpool, which is something we'll get to later as well. But this is the first page, just an overview page, and then we jump straight into the scouting report. And this is a very clear, nice document. It contains the 4 key pillars of the physical, the mental, the tactical, and the technical side. Those 4 are then broken down into smaller areas within each respective key pillar. So for example, in the physical pillar, we got endurance, we got agility, we got speed, strength and power, aerial ability, physical resilience. Those areas then get a definition to explain what they actually mean. So for example, for endurance, player has the ability to constantly make sprints, to break lines, run through channels, and press opponents. From what you then get is a grade from 1 to 5, where 5 is the highest, where you rank in these respective areas based on this game. So as you can see here, I mostly rank pretty high. Most of my grades are in number 4. I got a few in 3, I got 1 down in 2, and I got 1 in 5. That then creates a score for you up here, and my score for this game was 91 out of 120, which is a pretty high score. So these are the match instances, and these are for the times when you had the ball or did something else that was notable, and you get a timestamp for each different action together with a comment, so you can go back and watch and see what you did. Now I won't go through all of these because that would be a 2-hour long video, but we can watch a few of them. Concentrated on pressure and communicating with my teammates. So you can see me right here, I point, go up in pressure, focused in, communicating with my body language, just small things like that they take note of, which is really good because that is not something that I would have taken note of if I watched this game back. And one thing I mentioned earlier in this video was the importance of always being progressive in your play as often as you can, and this scout mentions this a lot. For instance here, once again, had the opportunity to play forward, 33-37. So if you go and watch there, you can see what it's all about. So I'm right here, see when I receive the ball, receive it right there. See, I got no one on my back. I have my other number 8 to the inside, so I could have turned inside, played him in between the lines, and that would have been much more dangerous compared to what I do. I just play backwards and the play restarts. So that is something that is mentioned a lot in the scouting report. Then once we get here to page 5, this is where we get a comment on each different key pillar of the game. So physical, mental, tactical, and technical. You get a comment for each and every one of them. I won't go through the entire comment. You can pause the video and read through them if you want. I can read through the mental one, for example. You're widely regarded as a player possessing leadership qualities, as evidenced by your proactive communication with teammates throughout the game, demonstrating a strong focus and commitment. In duels, you display aggression and assertiveness, readily applying pressure after losing possession, and showing a keen awareness of defensive responsibilities. This proactive approach to defensive play is commendable and contributes positively to the team's performance. Overall, your leadership on the field and proactive defensive mindset are admirable traits that enhance your value to the team. So that is one comment on one key pillar of the game, and that's something you can take with you going forward. And the last page contains some advice, and this paragraph walks through my recommended role model player, which in this case is Dominic Szoboszlai, who plays in Liverpool, and it says why that is the case, how we share similar physical characteristics, he possesses excellent control of the space and the ball, and it's just recommended that I watch this player because he's pretty similar to my type of playing style, and I can take away things and learn things from how he plays. All in all, it's a complete game analysis carried out by someone with tons of expertise and knowledge at the very highest levels of football. On top of that, it doesn't hurt that you gain some extra exposure of yourself as a player in front of the world's best scouts. And even if you feel like you're currently only at level 1, that doesn't mean that you can't enjoy the benefits of the higher levels, like level 3 and the OFN scouting report, because with the improved knowledge that you receive from just reading a single scouting report will help you to take so much better decisions on your own going forward. Right now, OFN is running a campaign on their scouting report where you get a 50% discount if you send in your application through the link in the description. So if this sounds like something you might be interested in, make sure to check that out. With the right analysis, you can take your game to the next level, and I believe investing in analysis is one of the best decisions you can make as an aspiring footballer. To be able to take the best decisions out on the field, you also need to have proper vision and awareness, which is something that I've seen a 68% increase in after training in virtual reality for the past 6 months. I recently made a video on this topic that you can watch next. That's all for this time, take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.